Mr. Gary Griffith is with me virtually. Hello, sir. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining me. Now, the National Transformation Alliance is going for all 41 seats in next year's general election. What does this decision stem on, given your partnership with the United National Congress in last year's local government election?
Well, you know, sometimes there'll always be a reaction based on an initial action. If we recall, just a month or so ago, the UNC actually announced that they would be contesting all 41 seats for the general election that will take place, whether it be later this year or next year. So the UNC, they actually made that first statement, and we were very curious when it is that after we had a strategic alliance that worked, that you will come out with this, and then it is now we understood, because strange enough, I have more people that I speak to in the UNC executive than probably Kamala Persad-Bissessar herself. So I know every single thing that she does and what she plans to do. And the game plan is, unfortunately, the UNC have not, well, let me not say the UNC, but Kamala Persad-Bissessar, she has not learned a thing after what has happened 10 years ago. The game plan has been to try to utilize the third constituency of voters as persons that you can just use, get into government and discard. So what her concept is, and this is not to Kamala Persad-Bissessar to blame. Unfortunately, she has taken all her advice and direction from Julie John, who's the deputy political leader. Sadly, I mean, it is her right to whoever she wants to take advice from. Julie John, just prior to the local government election, I had a meeting with Julie John and Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and Julie was point blank. She said, "We do not need you. We do not need any other party. We can win on our own." Now, anybody could make an opinion, but when you have someone who has the ears of a political leader, and she has no experience or training on involvement in running a government, in being a minister, in being in cabinet, your expertise you brought in to guide the UNC is because you are qualified to sell fried chicken and coffee in rituals, and that makes you the person that Kamala Persad-Bissessar is taking advice from. So Julian has been point blank. Throughout the local government election campaign, she was very upset about this alliance, and she has finally, it seems that she has finally gotten into the ears of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. And if you listen to her last night on the Monday Night Forum, she said every single thing that she said was to ensure that persons who are not PNM or UNC will never vote for UNC under Kamala Persad-Bissessar as the political leader of the UNC. She showed blatant disregard to the third constituency, who made you leader, who appointed you, how many votes you have, and then have the audacity to tell us to pull our weight. I was the person who, for 6 hours a day, for 6 weeks in the local government election, had to go in UNC areas to try to get UNC candidates to win their seats, all through San Fernando, all through Sangre Grande, 6 hours a day for 6 weeks. She never set foot once, other than being escorted onto a platform for a meeting every couple of days. So to have the audacity to question the work ethic of the NT and all other third parties, to try to allude to the fact that you want to have respect and to treat us the same way you treated the third constituency that led to the demise of the People's Partnership, it has seemed obviously that she has not learned a thing.
So for all intents, so what you're saying this morning, this strategic alliance, as it's been referred to, is dead. There is no possibility that the NT and the UNC will work together again in the next general election.
Oh, no, definitely not. That's definitely what I'm not saying. Being somebody in the military, I play to win, and I intend to win. What I do know is that I'm a realist, and I understand political strategy. I will not be easily influenced by someone who was a fried chicken salesperson to direct me as to what to do. Because what happens, you know, there will always be persons within the UNC, as small numbers they may be, will prefer to be big fish in small pond. Some of them become intimidated when that third constituency joins with the UNC. But I am also aware that there's not a snowball chance in hell that the PNM could ever be defeated if there's a three-horse race. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, you can't be that naive. She was part of that third constituency in 1991 when they got 127,000 votes, and they did not get a seat, but it ensured the PNM easily won in 1991. The same thing happened in 1981 when the ONR got 91,000 votes. The same thing happened in 2007 when the COP got 147,000 votes. And let me show how strong that third constituency is. a third constituency at its smallest can actually cause a change of a government. Ramesh Maharaj had a political party in 2001, and in that political party, he got 180 votes into the Pune, 180 votes, and that caused the PNM to defeat the UNC in that seat. That caused Patrick Manning to become the Prime Minister. So if Kamala Prasad-Bissessar does not understand political history, she does not understand the power and the strength of that third constituency, my intention is to ensure that we form some type of a strategic alliance, but we are not going to be disrespected. For 3 weeks, she has never communicated with us. We got a message that was claimed to be sent by her stating that we are to ignore Gary Griffith and Jack Warner and make them irrelevant. So she's doing the exact thing that she did, as I said, in 2010 to 2015. I saw political leaders of the COP stand up in the corridor in the office of the Prime Minister every Thursday after cabinet for hours, waiting to see her for 5 minutes. That is the type of disrespect we do not want. We are fully aware that the UNC is a larger party, but we are not going to sit idly by and see a repeat of that 147,000 voters of that third constituency be disrespected. The audacity of Kamala Prasad-Bissessar last night to state that virtually there's no such thing as a third constituency, there's PNM and the UNC, and there's no room for anybody. She went along that road of trying to disregard and disrespect persons who might easily say, I am not in support of the PNM and I'm not in support of the UNC, and to disregard them by trying to say that people are doing that because they see the PNM and UNC based on tribal politics. No, the bulk of that 147,000, it involves persons who just want a change. They want a different type of politics from the PNM and the UNC. And the numbers there, as I said, it moved from 91,000 to 127 to 147. And even if you bring it down to the smallest number for the NTA, say 41,000, you put that into 41 constituencies, that's 1,000 votes per constituency. That assures the PNM would win in those marginal seats. Did she do maths? Did Kamala do maths in August? Not to understand that. So our intention is to ensure that this must work, but it is going to be very difficult for it to work when you have a political leader of another party that shows blatant disrespect, disregard for that third constituency, and feel she could do the same thing that she did in 2010 to 2015. The People's Partnership collapsed because of the disrespect for parties outside of the UNC. And let me tell you, to all members of the UNC, I am more UNC than most persons who are around Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. I was in the UNC executive. I won my seat against the Pandey slate, inclusive of Kamala, in 2006 on the Dukaran slate. It was just myself, Manohar Ramsaran, and Sadiq Bash. The three of us won out of the other 15 because the UNC rank and file saw Gary Griffith as somebody that they wanted to assist in the leadership of the UNC. So let us not try to fool anybody about feeling that Gary. I am more UNC than most persons in the UNC. So I fully understand and respect the rank and file of the UNC. But everybody in the UNC is fully aware that to win, we must work together. We cannot work together if you have a political leader that is continuing to disrespect and disregard the views of the third constituency.
I mean, it's already been hinted at, but are you and the political leader of the UNC even communicating?
No, what she has done for the last 3 weeks, she has not, which is where it is that it was comical to hear her say that people need to pull their weight. We cannot find you, we cannot see you, you do not want to speak to us. We got a message stating in a Zoom meeting she had on Saturday, we had to disregard Gary and Jack to try to make them irrelevant. I mean, what kind of leader are you? You're trying to unify a country? Are you trying to build a country? What we are asking for is that the UNC must ensure that there's a political leader who is willing to communicate, who is willing to be humble, who is willing to embrace persons outside of the UNC. That is the only way to the UNC rank and file that you could win. You cannot have a political leader that goes on a platform as she did last night and attack third parties, speak about we must be disciplined and we will not take disrespect, and then have the audacity to attack the legacy of Bazio Pandey by stating this is how they treated the UNC years ago as sheep. Bazio Pandey was the only person who had the capability to embrace that third constituency into the UNC to ensure that the UNC could have won an election on its own. And granted, it lasted a few months because of the same type of mentality of Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, with people in the UNC saying, no, you have no right to have brought in these people. Bazio Pandey never treated people as sheep, but he understood you have to embrace persons who may not be diehard UNC in Deep South and Central. The NT and myself, I was able to walk the length and breadth of the corridor, which is the catalyst towards winning an election, throughout Diego Martin, from Paramin to Lupino, Bonnier, the hills in Cameron, in Scorpion, in Caranage, Lavantil, Silo, Beetham, La Hawkita, all in the hills in Arima. Kamala Persad-Bissessar will never set foot there. She has never been seen from Diego Martin to Arima. So for her to have the audacity of saying, let us see your strength, and then to be so rude to say that social media does not win an election. You have a political leader who has not won an election in 14 years after 8 elections, trying to give other political parties guidance how to win an election. It was comical. And then to state that social media does win an election, neither do political parties that bust in the same 300 people with 20 maxis at every meeting and then say the meeting is a success. So, or political parties that will be rude and disrespect the third constituency. So if it is that she doesn't want to communicate with us, she has listened to Julian John, she has taken the bait, and anybody who wants to separate the UNC from the third constituency is either you are a plant of the PNM or you're very stupid.
And let me ask you,
anytime that happens, it is going to spell success for the PNM.
Let me ask you, Mr. Griffith, you said you're more UNC than Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and this comes on the heels of the NT searching for 41 candidates for next year's election. Are you more UNC than you are NTA?
No, not at all. But what it means is that being in the UNC, in 2006, I understand the concept of the UNC, what it stands for. It is an excellent party. They have done so much for this country. But I do understand that Basdio Pandey's concept of the UNC was, he was always pushing that agenda of trying to put national unity. And that is why I understand. So when I say I'm more UNC, not of Kamala, but of most persons in the UNC, because I actually won my seat in the UNC executive against Basdio Pandey, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Jack Warner, Wade Mark, that whole posse. So the UNC rank and file respects me and they understand me. They can embrace me and vice versa. What I'm stating is that because I understand the UNC's culture and the concept, I am able to understand the importance of us working together. So me being the political leader of a third party, but was actually inside the UNC once upon a time, I understand we must respect them. We must show that we do understand that they are a very powerful force that must be respected. But in the same manner, the UNC must have a political leader that is willing to be humble, to embrace and to unify and show that there's a space for the third constituency, and not to use them as you did in 2010 to 2015. And then when you get in government with your 21 seats, you could discard them. So the game plan of Julian John and company is for UNC to get all the marginal seats, win about 22, 23 seats, give the third parties to go up for Lavantil and Labre and Port of Spain. And then after you have your 22 seats, which is exactly what she did in 2010 to 2015. I give the promise to that 147,000 persons who voted in 2007 and to the young voters who did not have that opportunity. I am not going to let that happen. I am not going to have that third constituency disrespected. But in the same manner, I do understand the importance of us working together. It seems that Kamala Persad-Bissessar does not want it to happen. The comments she made last night, she drew a line in the sand. How could you, let me quickly add, how could you be a political leader and you're leading an army and you know that you have limited resources fighting against the real enemy, and instead you're now going to try to pick a fight with other armies to fight against them that is now going to diminish your resources in your front line against the real enemy that is attacking you? So now she's going to deplete her resources because she's trying to pick a fight. You as the UNC should be trying to embrace other parties, not come on a platform last night to attack, discredit, undermine, and make fun of a third constituency. So she's now added more enemies to her front line that is now going to weaken her defense in the real enemy, which is the PNM.
Mr. Griffith, you've said that the NG is now the de facto third party here in Trinidad and Tobago. It's often seen as a two-party political system, but following what has been deemed as a success in the last local government elections, you're also deemed to be a very popular individual. Members of the public still speak very highly of you, and even as your time as Commissioner of Police. That being said, though you may see the NT as the de facto third political party, and though you are a popular figure in many aspects, would this translate into success for the NTA in a general election come 2025?
Well, okay, well, firstly, let me clarify. I'm not saying that we are the de facto third political party. There are several other political parties, and unlike Kamala Persad, so that is where I am different to her. My style of leadership is to embrace, to respect. For me to say that we are the be-all and end-all third political party, I am automatically now disrespecting other political parties. Why? Because of Gary Griffith's image and his popularity? No, that would be disrespect to these other parties. So whether there's a political party that may only have 100 persons, I understand and respect and would embrace those parties, which is what I intend to do. So all of these other parties, if it is we have the common goals, we have the same principles for proper governance, I see all of these third constituencies as being part of a process towards good governance. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So having said that, so I don't want it to be seen that because if I speak like that, I'll be animal farming down the place. I'll be operating exactly as Kamala Persad is doing in how she speaks about the NTA. She spent more time by talking and attacking me and the NTA, even though in a cowardly manner by not calling our names, than she did for Keith Rowley, which is amazing. So we are the third political party, but when Keith Rowley is on a platform, he spends more time attacking me than Kamala. And now Kamala is on a platform and she's spending more time attacking me than Rowley. So it shows the significance of that third constituency, because both the PNM and the UNC, they are mortified of the fact, especially with the PNM, if the UNC and the NT and the other parties get together, it spells certain defeat for the PNM, as we saw in 1986, 1995, and 2010. If that third constituency decides to go on their own based on arrogance by the political leaders of the UNC, we will see the PNM winning by a wider margin as they did in 1981, 1991, and 2007. So I fully understand and I intend to embrace and meet with all of these other third parties. Having said that, I do understand that we may get again 150, 170,000 votes. It may not be enough to win an election. I play to win. And the reason why you form a political party is to get in government. So we do know the importance of us working with the UNC. There are people in the UNC that may be plants of the PNM or just, as I said, virtually ignorant and would prefer to win alone so they can run the government on their own. I give a promise to the country. The UNC cannot and should not be a government on its own. I was there in cabinet where I saw several senior UNC persons giving state contracts to gang members. That is a typical example. So when Kamala speaks about performance and the principles of, and Julian John speaking about if the UNC, then who? Then who? The NTA. Because the NTA is the only political party that is once and for all going to fix this country, clean up this country. Both for PNM and the UNC, we have seen these persons, when they get in government, they provide major contracts to gang members that are proven to be the catalyst towards what has caused crime in this country. If anybody could fix this country, it is going to be the NTA. If not the NTA, then who? And using the same words of Julian John last night, because we are going to ensure proper governance. We are not going to sleep with the devil. We are not going to facilitate criminal elements in the hope that they will vote for us or stop crime. So those are the things that we must be part of a government. Unless we are there, we are just going to have exchange in government.
Final question, Mr. Griffith. I'm sorry that you mentioned all that towards the end of the interview, because there's a lot more to get into now. So let's just say this is part one. But my final question, given the time, is what constituency do you plan to run for in 2025?
Well, definitely, remember, as I said, the corridor, the NTA, we decided to prove our worth in the local government elections by going into the belly of the beast. We went after the 31 safest PNM seats, and every single one, inclusive of from Lopino, Diego Martin, seats that the PNM would have won by 1,300 votes, they ended up winning by 200, 300, 400. So we cut major inroads into the PNM that the UNC could never do. Julian John and Kamala Persad could never walk the East-West corridor, and they know that, so they stay in Deep South, and they feel that you can win an election. You have to get in there and respect that third constituency, respect that corridor. So the NTA, as well as the other political parties, as I said, we intend to go up for all 41 seats if the UNC does not want to play ball with us. However, we are going to put a lot of focus on the marginal seats. Usually who wins St. Joseph wins the election, and very soon you'll be hearing who is going up for St. Joseph under the NTA and the other parties. So the game plan is obviously we are a national party. we would be seeking candidates for all 41 seats, as the UNC said they're doing. But unless and until Kamala Persad-Bissessar takes away this arrogance of believing that the UNC can actually just bring in these parties to get the votes and then discard us, it ain't going to happen.
Mr. Griffith, thank you very much for your time this morning, sir, on the program. Like I said, it'll have to be part one because we are out of time, but thank you very much, sir.
Take care.